Help me, God. Oath of secrecy. I, Keisal Melissa Peters, being appointed Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, do swear that I will not on any account or at any time disclose the counsel, advice, opinion, or vote of any particular minister, and that I will not, except with the authority of the Cabinet, and to such extent as may be required for the good management of the affairs of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, directly or indirectly reveal the business or proceedings of the Cabinet or the nature or content of any document communicated to me as Minister or any matter coming to my knowledge in that capacity. So help me God.
Is the signing of the instruments after the oath was taken by Senator Peters, and those who are viewing would see affixing her signature to the various instruments at this time, being assisted by the ADC to Her Excellency the Governor General, Major Philip Cambridge, who's also officiating the ceremony this morning. And she is all smiles as she walked in this morning. A smile greeted everyone, or she greeted everyone with a smile. And that has since come to this point where the instruments are signed and Senator Peters officially sworn in as the new Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Minister.
Now the Governor General will affix her signature to the instruments.
Her Excellency Dame Susan Duggan doing her part of the ceremony in affixing her signature to the instruments and sealing the deal, as we should say, on the appointment and the swearing in here this morning at Government House. And on this occasion, witnessed by members of Cabinet, other senior civil servants, family members, close friends,
yes,
colleagues at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. Some of them actually gathered just in front with the earlier shot you saw alongside the Honourable Prime Minister in witnessing firsthand the process of the signing of the instruments. And after this we expect a few remarks, and we look forward to those remarks from Senator Peters and also the Honourable Prime Minister, who will speak on the swearing in today. And the Prime Minister has been serving in that capacity since 2020 as Foreign Minister, and he announced recently a change in handing this duty over to Senator Peters and assuming the responsibility for tertiary education, taking that responsibility across from Minister King, and now transitioning some of those other responsibilities to Senator Peters.
Governor General.
Prime Minister, Dr. the Honourable Ralph Gonsalves, and Mrs. Gonsalves,
Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Montgomery Daniel, Speaker of the OECS Assembly, Honorable Rene Batiste, distinguished members of Cabinet, members of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade, distinguished guests, friends, well-wishers, members of the media, welcome to Government House this morning. And I hope the rain didn't deter you in any way from coming. Now, I am so happy to congratulate the Honorable Keisal Peters for assuming the office of Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. I am happy not only because she has been elevated to this esteemed position, but because she's my former student. And it gives me great pleasure to congratulate her. I know that the minister will use this opportunity to make a difference, not only in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but in the international arena where she has to interface with many distinguished and foreign players. I know she's able because she has the intelligence, the personality, the competence, and those skills that are useful when you meet with counterparts outside of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, not only in the region, but in the where you meet with international players. So I am confident that you are going to represent St. Vincent and the Grenadines in all of these fora, using your intelligence, your skill, and all those God-given talents that we have seen come into the fore during your short tenure in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I have to thank your family for the good work they've done in supporting you, in nurturing you, and to assist you to reach this far. You could not have reached this far without the input of your family, and I thank them very much. I also have to thank them for allowing you to serve the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and as I said before, I know you will do a fantastic job. We are proud of you, and I can go on and on this morning, but I was told earlier that I have to be brief. So congratulations again, and may God continue to bless you.
Thank you, Excellency Governor General. I now invite Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Ralphie Gonsalves to bring his remarks.
Master of Ceremonies, Your Excellency, the Governor General, Cabinet, colleagues, senior public servants, the Honorable Speaker of the OECS Assembly, René Batiste, the members of the family of the Honorable Keisal Melissa Peters, as we call her, KMP, our friends, well-wishers, and members of the media, and of course, very specially, we are happy to be here with Keisal Melissa Peters. I want to, first of all, thank Her Excellency for accommodating us this morning. And I want to congratulate the Honorable Keisal Melissa Peters on this historic appointment. She is the first woman to be our country's foreign minister. And she's the youngest person ever to be appointed our country's foreign minister. Now, though the cabinet and the Prime Minister set the contours, the framework, the essence of our foreign policies and our policies in relation to external trade, the execution of the foreign policy and foreign trade policy of our country, and of course very much so in its formulation, reside in the hands overwhelmingly of women, and largely young women. This is an indication of the government's general policy to advance the interests of young people and the interests of women. Two groups which historically have been disadvantaged in public policy and in the execution of public policy. At the United Nations, generally and including especially when the staff was enlarged to accommodate our occupancy of a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council in 2020 and 2021. Over 80% of the staff at the United Nations then and now are women, mainly young women. In fact, at the time when we were on the Security Council, there were 3 persons of ambassadorial rank in our UN mission. Her Excellency Inga Rhonda King, permanent representative of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to the United Nations and overall ambassador in charge of the mission. Nedra Miguel, Her Excellency Nedra Miguel, who was assigned specifically the duties connected to the General Assembly and certain specialized agencies thereunder. And for the 2-year period, we were able to learn from her post at the university and with the concurrence of the Vice Chancellor. Brilliant young Vincentian woman, child of the education revolution. Dr. Halima Dishong was brought in to strengthen the Security Council team, particularly to address issues connected to gender violence and women in conflict, particularly in Africa, where nearly 60% of the active issues at the Security Council emanate from the African continent. Again, showing our commitment, our government's commitment to young people and to women. These things are happening before our very eyes, but there is no public commentary on it. It's as though some people, when things are happening before their very eyes, they don't see the significance, and it has to be pointed out. Indeed, the first permanent representative of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to the United Nations, appointed by the Unity Labour Party government, was a woman, Margaret Ferrari. Currently, our ambassador to Washington, to the United States of America, and to the Organization of American States, Ambassador Luan Gilchrist, as the name indicates, also a woman. In the Republic of China on Taiwan, our first ambassador there is a woman, Ambassador Bowman. In London, another of the major postings, the person of second rank and the person of third rank are women. Indeed, the person of second rank, like most of the women whom we have appointed, come from the bowels of the working people of this country and reflect the values of our country and reflect the principles which undergird our foreign policy. The environment externally has much hostility in it, structurally, institutionally, for small island developing states. And it is the business of our foreign policy and our policy in relation to foreign trade to engage that external environment in such a manner as to enhance our capacity to address more efficaciously the challenges in that environment and to take advantage of the opportunities available to us in that environment, and to do so in a way which redounds to the interests of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and to the humanization of our peoples. On October the 16th, 1994, at the first National Convention of the Unity Labour Party, the Constitution and bylaws of our party were adopted. There are 10 aims and objectives in Article 2, of our Constitution. Among those aims and objectives, which are fundamental to the philosophy and outlook of our party and thus of our government, are the following among others. indeed the very first of the aims and objectives, is the defense of our country's sovereignty and independence. The second is to maintain the unity of the state of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And the aims and objectives go on to enumerate two very important items. One, the building of a mature regionalism, and to further ennoble our Caribbean civilization in every material particular to reflect the tried and tested values of our civilization. And additionally, for us, in solidarity and in conjunction with other states in the international community, to strive for peace, progress, prosperity, and security for all. At the center of those aims and objectives is the declaration of our commitment to democracy and freedom, and for the enhancement of the skills and the opportunities of every single Vincentian. These are foundational tenets of the party, of the government, which are reflected in our foreign policy. They are not accidental. Now, I have been observing Keisal Melissa Peters for quite some time. As I observe many, many young persons. And I would make inquiries, and I would not rely, Your Excellency, only on my judgment. I take my responsibilities and my oath very seriously. And when the occasion arose, after our 5th consecutive electoral triumph, and as Prime Minister, and in consultation with my colleagues, I considered it necessary and desirable to have a young woman to understudy the Prime Minister as Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. I looked at several persons and concluded that KMP was the best of an elite group of young women from whom we had to choose. And I invited her to join the government, and she did. Now, St. Vincent and the Grenadines is a very small place. And everyone knows that Keisal Melissa Peters had worked for 10 years in the chambers of Mr. Stanley Storky John, who and the Labour Party went their own separate ways in 2020. And some of the 2000, and some of the rhetoric on both sides was sharp and robust. And initially, persons said, how could the comrade take somebody from Starkey Chambers and they think of politics in very simplistic terms? Politics is more than arithmetic. In fact, it is algebraic and geometric and more. It's existential. And I made all my observations. I knew the background of her mother and her father, who come from the working people. And I knew that her sojourn in Starkey John's chambers, whatever the political differences between Starkey and myself, I have a high regard for Starkey's discipline and his understanding of the law. And I knew that she would have gone through a particular period of training in those chambers which would assist in making her suitable, conjoined, of course, with my knowledge that she shared a philosophical position of advanced social democracy in line with that of the Unity Labour Party government. I have seen her function for the last year and a half plus, and I am satisfied that she has grown in stature, that she deserves to be promoted to full minister as Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs, sorry, and Minister of Foreign Trade. And this is not only my judgment, but the judgment of her colleagues in cabinet, all of them who hold her in high regard. And as you would notice, everyone is here from the cabinet, save and except Julian Francis, whom we know is currently indisposed because of an illness. And I want to thank all my cabinet colleagues for turning out and giving support to KMP. It has been drawn to my attention that some persons who are literate, some even with university degrees, who write on this or that platform, in social media, Twitter, Instagram, or whatever, they speak with seeming authority that what sort of foolishness that Ralph has done. He can't appoint somebody constitutionally to the position of foreign minister unless that person is elected in their most assuredness. They are confident in their ignorance. The fact is this: the Constitution of St. Vincent and the Grenadines permits the Prime Minister to advise Her Excellency to appoint from among senators up to 2 persons from the Senate, the group of 4 senators, as ministers. Whether you're minister of state or you're a full minister. And of course there can be other persons as parliamentary secretary from the office of a senator. And we have 2 senators who are ministers, Julian Francis and KMP. Before she became a full minister, she was a minister of state. And she's a minister now. And we satisfy the constitutional requisites. I don't know why, if people don't know things, they don't simply ask people who know and try to kerfuffle those who are unsuspecting. I have heard of comments made by persons, including some women. Apparently, their criticism resides in a common matter which has been written repeatedly in the Hebrew Bible and into the New Testament. A simple question of green elemental jealousy. I am speaking very openly and frankly. For some reason, they feel that somehow that their class gave them a divine right or some inside track to be the first woman to be foreign minister. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you. It is Keisal Melissa Peters. You know, Your Excellency, I am not using government house to preach politics. I'm talking policy. I am, because we have to speak the matters very frankly and very honestly. I will not advert to a matter which had all the hallmarks of gutter politics, nastiness, entirely false. And when I spoke about it, we brought that subject to an end. Of course, there are persons who were the originators of the falsehood, feel that I have done a disservice by rebutting the falsehood. And because I have spoken about the falsehood, I only gave their lie additional wings. That is a cockeyed view of the truth. I rebut the falsehood, and my rebuttal is known to the world. And the fact of the matter is this: I know that my word in the world counts far more than those who seek to tarnish the good name of Keisal Melissa Peters. There are some persons who misunderstand what truth is about. Hypocritically, they conceive of truth not just as a virtuous lady because she is a virtuous lady, truth. But they feel that this virtuous lady, they must surround it. They must protect it by a bodyguard of lies. Well, if you seek to protect the virtuous lady called truth with a bodyguard of lies, it only means that you're a sophisticated liar. That's all it means. I have said more than once, it is easier to get away with traducing me than traducing Sabuto, the humble African, Camilo, Carlos, KMP. I'm calling the very younger ones. Ashel Morgan, because Orlando Brewster, I am duty bound. I am duty bound as their leader, and because I'm much older than they are, as their veritable patriarch, to defend them when they are maligned. And I will do so with all the skill that God and experience have devolved upon me. Congratulations, KMP. We have a big visit to do together at the United Nations General Assembly. It will be your first one. It would be an excellent experience for you. And I'm absolutely sure that you would continue to do your work with the level of commitment, savvy, competence that you will faithfully serve the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So help me God. We love you very much. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. I now invite our Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, the Honorable Keisal Peters.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies. Your Excellency, the Governor General, Dame Susan Duggan, the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Ralph E. Gonsalves and Mrs. Gonsalves, members of Cabinet, the Honorable René Batiste, Speaker of the OECS House of Assembly, Mrs. Angie Williams-Jackson, Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Mrs. Janetta Jackson-Toby, Permanent Secretary Acting in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, other senior officials in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, specially invited guests, family and friends, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, good morning. I am very honored to be here this morning, standing before you as your Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. And it is not lost on me that this is a historic moment. I remembered when I first walked the halls of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade after being appointed in 2020, and consciously realizing that the gentlemen on the wall, we have what I describe as a hall of fame, were all men. And it is not lost on me that we are making history here today. And first and foremost, I have to acknowledge the goodness of God in my life. Because without Him, I am nothing. And I believe that God had a plan. Even before I was conceived, He had a plan. And the people who know me and who are close to me know that based on the historical accounts of my parents, on the day I was born, that very day, the forces of darkness did their very best to take me out of it. And thanks to the brilliance of Dr. Timothy Providence and his medical team, I am standing here today before you as your Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. I want to thank the Honorable Prime Minister for advising Her Excellency the Governor General on my appointment as Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, and for passing the baton on to me as my immediate predecessor in the role of Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. And I thank you for this opportunity to serve the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in a higher capacity with more responsibilities, which I am ready for and which I know I am very much capable of. I want to thank you, Prime Minister, for imparting knowledge to myself and my cabinet colleagues. And I've made the point recently that imparting the knowledge is what is important and what will guarantee continuity of the policies of this administration as we serve the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, it is no secret that I hold this ministry in very high regard. In fact, when I was younger, I used to frequent the ministry quite a bit because, as you know, Prime Minister, my cousin-in-law, who I affectionately called Auntie Shirley, was the permanent secretary whilst I was in secondary school. And ever so often I would go and visit her. So I've always held this ministry in high regard because I know the level of work, commitment and dedication that the staff of this ministry would put forward for the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And it is my honor to lead this ministry as we go forward in what we all acknowledge is a very difficult time in the global history. I remember when I started in 2020, persons asked me, what is it like working with civil servants? And I said to them, well, let's be fair, give me about a year's time and ask me the question again in a year's time. And I must say that the staff of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, they are absolutely amazing. They are hardworking. They offer guidance. And they are dedicated and committed. Staff at Capital Kingstown, as well as our staff members scattered all across the world. They are very hardworking people. And I take this opportunity to commend them and to give them my pledge that I will continue to work with them and we will continue together to safeguard the national interest of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I want to thank my family. They have been my rock. They have been my protectors, my fiercest defenders, my parents, my siblings, my nieces and nephews, cousins, aunts, uncles. My family has just been amazing, and every step of my life, they have all been there to support me, to encourage me, and to give me that extra push when sometimes I felt as if I couldn't make it. But they've always been there, and I want to say to them publicly, thank you. To my friends, a few of them are here, what the young people would call the day ones, who I met when I entered the girls' high school, and who to this day are still very close friends of mine. And we've shared many wonderful moments together. So today is a wonderful moment. We've shared births, we've shared marriages, and I just want to thank my friends for being there for me and always defending me in whichever way. I could close my eyes and turn my back and know that they have mine. And I also have theirs, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all that you've done for me over the years. To the members of my community, some of you are here, the community of Lomans, Leeward, Camden Park, and by extension, West Kingstown. Yes. It would be remiss of me. It would be remiss of me not to mention the community of West Kingstown. I want to thank you for the ones who I knew from the very beginning, neighbors and friends, and since my appointment and getting to know the people and meet the people, you've been very welcoming, very receptive, and you've indicated your willingness to work with me, and I am ready and willing to work with you, and I want the people of West Kingstown to know that you are in very safe hands. To my cabinet colleagues, who I consider my brothers, they are like my personal hype men. They were very concerned about today, whether, I had made my appointment with my hairstylist, whether I had spoken to my designer, and, they were just eager and waiting and ready to know that everything was set for today. And we have we have a very good rapport, and I've said before that they have embraced me and welcomed me as a sister and as a friend in the cabinet, and I want to give you my assurances that you can continue to count on me as a colleague and as a friend wherever the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade can assist. I will be here, and no doubt I know that you will do the same for me. To the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I want you to rest assured that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade is in safe hands. Not just my hands, but the many hands who lift it. As I said, staff, both in St. Vincent and abroad. The people can rest assured that the foreign policy of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is in safe hands, and it is sound foreign policy. And in the last year and a half, I've learned and I've seen it demonstrated in many instances that St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we are unwavering when it comes to our foreign policy. We don't pick and choose when to apply the principles of international law. And for that, we are consistent. And whether people want to believe it or not, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, though we are small, we are well respected in international circles. Always. I can attest to that. And as it relates to any matters touching and concerning the well-being of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the economy of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you can rest assured that you have an advocate in me. To the young people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we live in a time where it is easy to be distracted by many things that may be designed to derail your purpose and your dreams and your hopes and aspirations. But I want to encourage the young people to know what you are about and be what you are about. Be unwavering in the pursuit of your dreams. And to some extent, you should be unapologetic in the pursuit of your dreams. And be uncompromising in the pursuit of your dreams. Know what you are about and be what you are about. And in all interactions with people, you must be unequivocal, meaning you must be clear. No doubt must be left as to who you are and what you intend to do and what you intend to achieve in life. Because there are people who will try to lead you down a path of unrighteousness, and you would be wise not to do it. So you have to know what you are about and stay focused. To the women and the young girls of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, today, this historical day, is your day as much as it is mine. And I want you to be a part of it. I want you to relish in it, and I want you to celebrate what has happened here today. My personal motto is I aspire to inspire before I expire. Because at some point we will all leave here, and we hope that when we leave here, we leave a country with a solid foundation for the younger generation to carry on. But I have tried for the better part of my life to be an example and to be a role model for young women and young people in general and women. And I want to thank the women who over the last few weeks have reached out to me, have encouraged me, have defended me, both publicly and privately, and most importantly, constantly. I want to thank you. And I want to thank the many persons, some who I've met virtually, some who I've known for years, some who I've met since my appointment and in various interactions. I want to thank you for your words of encouragement, for reminding me to stay focused and to keep my eyes on the prize. And the irony is I usually encourage people to stay focused, but that advice came to me strongly, swiftly, consistently over the last few weeks. And I thank you for the encouragement. And in closing, I just want to reiterate that this country's national interest, will be at the forefront, always is, as far as the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade is concerned, as far as Cabinet is concerned. We take decisions, and sometimes we have to make the very hard decisions, but leaders have to lead, because this is not an easy time. It is a very difficult period for our country and many other countries. In fact, the entire world is going through a difficult period, and we have to work together, because I genuinely believe that all of us, even with political differences, we love our country. So I would encourage us to work together, to be encouraged. Don't lose faith. The Prime Minister has resurrected the word respect. Respect. And we've teased him about it in cabinet, but the word has been resurrected. And I just want to wish everyone a safe and enjoyable weekend. And God bless us all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Peters. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your support to this morning event. This brings us to the end
There
of the
we
event,
have it.
and you would be invited to
The
have
official
light
swearing in
refreshment.
of
Thank you.
former Senator Keisal Peters and now the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, the Honorable Keisal Peters. And if I can repeat some of Honorable Minister Keisal Peters, she says her personal motto is to aspire to, she aspires to inspire before she expires.
Aspires
She
to
aspires to
inspire
inspire before she expires.
Yes.
And certainly this very comprehensive response that you got from her is an indication of the type of ceremony we've just witnessed here this morning. Very historic swearing-in ceremony, first female Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Minister, and the first and the youngest, first female and the youngest person to hold that position, Colvin.
Yes, and as expected, the celebration in the back with all of the relatives and friends and also members of cabinet, the
Yes.
Prime Minister mentioned. Most of the cabinet is here,
Yes.
if not everyone from cabinet
Yes.
is here this morning.
right.
From the PS, the ministers,
Yes, we saw from
Senator Bala, everyone is here this morning
That's right.
to witness this occasion. And of course, the mingling will now be the main feature, and of course, it may get a bit louder behind there
That's right.
as the exchanges of greetings, etc. But something stood out to me, and I think you mentioned it to me earlier. Her Excellency the Governor General mentioned in her remarks that she was the principal at the
Yes.
Girls High School, the St. Vincent Girls High School, at the time when, at that time, Keisal Peters
Was a student. Yes.
And today she's here officiating and signing the instruments to swear in
A former student.
a former student.
As the first
As
female
the
and,
first
and
female
youngest
Foreign
Foreign Affairs Minister.
Indeed.
Historic in many respects.
Yes, and this is since our independence in 1979, so we've been dominated by males since then, and might I say middle-aged older men.
Yes, certainly.
So certainly youth is in our favor, and from the last few moments of our presentation, she is determined to have her stint make a mark
Yes.
on the foreign relations of St. Vincent and the Grenadines between, of course, our friends and allies all around the world through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, making some new connections, expanding our reach, and reaching all corners of the globe on our behalf.
Well,
And we certainly look
earlier
forward to that.
you mentioned that we were seeing on screen the acting permanent secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and
Yes.
Trade,
Yes.
Mrs. Janetta Toby.
Janetta Toby.
She's sitting in for the permanent secretary Phillips, who is on leave, and the entire staff from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, all female here this morning,
Yes.
to support their minister. And on the cabinet side, as you alluded to, the only exception being Senator Francis, who we know is recovering. But certainly the turnout here this morning definitely underscores the importance of this swearing-in ceremony, what it means for this country, and the speech that we got from the Honorable Keisal Peters, addressing women, addressing youth, addressing the persons on the political divide or the different sides of the political spectrum, what have you, and also speaking to the role that St. Vincent and the Grenadines plays internationally, taking into consideration the role of women at all of those embassies and consulates and so forth around the world. whether it's in the Republic of China and Taiwan, where we have Mrs. Andrea Bowman,
Yes.
or across the US and beyond, in the UK as well, as the Prime Minister alluded to, women are playing a significant role in the foreign policy, execution of the foreign policy of this country.
And speaking of which, the Honorable Renee Batiste was one of those who noted who came by today to witness this occasion. She, of course, served as a government minister and
Yes.
now still retains the honorable title as she Speaker of the OECS House of Assembly. And she was certainly here this morning to witness this occasion. And we saw when she came in, as usual, quite elegantly dressed and representing well. And of course, this must be an important occasion and a signature occasion for her as well, having gone through that as being in the House of Assembly.
Because she also sat as the area representative for West Kingstown, and
yes.
we heard Keisal Peters making it clear that she has her eyes on the constituency of West Kingstown. So that's, maybe there is something there to look at, someone definitely to look out for politically in this country, and already setting our eyes, setting our gaze on West Kingstown. We may very well see some coordination and collaboration in that respect, where Minister Peters and Honorable Renee Batiste are concerned.
Yes, and from the humble beginnings as a student at the Lomans Leeward Anglican School, moving up Cable Campus in Barbados, Hugh Wooden Law School, entering the realms of Parliament, the hallowed halls of Parliament, to today being sworn in as a full minister in the government's portfolio as a Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. It's certainly an achievement for a young woman in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and it certainly leads an example of what we can do, for the younger generation to look up to in taking the country forward, building on what is there already, and inspiring other youngsters to get involved in not just parliamentary politics, but in greater things in life.
Yes. And we heard her calling on young people to pursue their dreams, whatever that dream may be. And certainly, as she has demonstrated, she has worked steadfastly to achieving her personal dreams, and I'm pretty sure that she's not finished yet. She's still moving along that trajectory. And it must be an inspiring occasion for young people looking at a young lady and hearing that she's under 40 years of age, somewhere around age 36, I'm not sure, but I'm subject to correction. But basically, someone at that young age holding the position of Foreign Affairs Minister in our contemporary global geopolitics, where we have conflicts here, there, and everywhere, always issues to be resolved, and this will be our face and our voice. Keisal Peters will be our face and our voice on the international stage, defending the staunch foreign policies of this country.
And also just to note as well that she served in the capacity of Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, under the office of the Prime Minister and his capacity as the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So this is not new territory, just expanding on her scope of responsibilities and taking it to the next level, as we would say, as a full minister. Well, as you realize, behind us, everybody is mixing and mingling. The conversations are going. Her Excellency was just there a moment, having a few words with some of the guests here. And I think the intention was to grab a minister
from one member of Parliament.
Yes.
All right. So you, okay, Minister responsible for tourism, Honorable Carlos James. It's a pleasure having you. Historic moment, historic event here this morning. The first female minister responsible for foreign affairs and foreign trade, and certainly the youngest as well in that position. Your thoughts?
Certainly, it's a really remarkable period for us. We all, as cabinet colleagues, are fully in support of the appointment of Keisal Melissa Peters to the post of Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. Over the past 2 years, she has really shown her capacity to do work, has represented St. Vincent and the Grenadines quite well. We have seen her level of development within the position, and I speak unbiasedly when I say that. I mean, she's really done remarkable work, even for a young person, but also the first female to be appointed as foreign minister. I think it's a very important appointment which all women should celebrate across St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and also all young people in general should recognize that once you're disciplined, you put in the work and you set your goals and your targets and you achieve them. Really the sky is the limit.
Yes.
And I think that it sends a very strong message to all aspiring politicians and young people who are from working communities, humble beginnings, who have really risen to represent the country nationally and internationally. And I think we value the work of KMP, as we affectionately call her, and no doubt that she will carry the flag of St. Vincent and the Grenadines very proudly and very well, representing us in the diaspora at international meetings and fora, and here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines as a cabinet member and a full minister with responsibility for foreign affairs and foreign trade.
And before you go, Minister, on the subject of continuity, she left us with, or she gave us her personal motto. She says she aspires to inspire before she expires.
We all take the cue from our political leader and the Prime Minister. He is a leader, a teacher, but also imparts knowledge. And I think all of us as young politicians and members of the cabinet, ministerial portfolios especially, we follow his lead and we look at how he has been able for the past 20 plus years being in the leadership of the country in terms of the administration of his duties, and we value his work. And we also there's no member of the cabinet who works harder than the Prime Minister, and of course we look at that and we really try our best to continue with that hallmark, and KMP, yes. And she also puts in a lot of work and has really followed the pattern. You heard what she said in her speech, is that the Prime Minister has really imparted knowledge and she follows his lead, and she has really lived up to that, and all of us within the cabinet. So it's really a good Friday morning, and it shows you that this government continues to deliver and continues to do good work on behalf of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And what we do essentially is to give that level of support to all of the cabinet colleagues in relation to their portfolios.
Thank you very much, Minister. It's a strong showing, and we definitely appreciate your comments here this morning. We would re-invite Colvin to join the broadcast and allow you to interact with your cabinet colleagues.
Certainly.
Although I can see that you would like to stay with us for the entirety of the broadcast.
All right.
But we've certainly enjoyed the activities here this morning as well.
Yes.
Just simply speaking, as Vince mentions, and as young people observing the strength. Of course, Keisal Peters is stepping into big boots with the Prime Minister being her predecessor in this role. But clearly this morning she demonstrated that she can fill those shoes.
Certainly, no doubt there are boots that she's capable of filling. And as I said, we're all rooting for her, and we fully support and endorse her appointment. And she can only, continue to raise the flag of St. Vincent and the Grenadines as a young person, yes, and as a strong black woman. First to be appointed to the position.
Right. And I love that comment, that latter comment you made, because certainly this is something that we can't take away from this exercise this morning, given Keisal's background and certainly the presence of her family here to give her support in addition to all of our cabinet colleagues. Definitely we must also recognize the role that our black women, and a strong black woman, a young black woman is making in the development of our society, and to have the bravery, the courage to serve at this level.
Certainly, yes. It is, and we can all wish her the best, and of course all young people and women across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This is a time for you to celebrate.
That's right.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you, Minister James.
Yes, thank you very much.
James. It's a time that we all should celebrate. Welcome back, Colvin.
I wasn't too far. I was just about a foot or two away.
Confiscated your microphone. He was sharing with us his personal take on this swearing-in ceremony this morning, and this historic swearing-in ceremony.
Yes, and quite an occasion. We've had certainly a change in the weather than when we woke up this morning, and we were a little worried as to it would put a damp on what is to happen here at Government House. But we've done it. It's finished. We're now in motion for new direction for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, driven by Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, the Honorable Keisal Melissa Peters, the Melissa KMP, as she's sometimes referred to by the Honorable Prime Minister and other members of Cabinet. And the support of her family was evident here this morning. I understand her mom is overseas, so wasn't able to be here, but I'm sure that she would not have missed the occasion via our platform to see this momentous occasion with her daughter being sworn in as Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade.
And by all indications, other family members as well of hers, they are overseas viewing this morning. And we certainly we take great pleasure in being able to provide this service so that they can view this live. Because we know sometimes the constraints in traveling these days. So it's certainly a pleasure to be able to bring the ceremony live to you, so you can actually view this historic activity taking place live here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines at Government House. Overlooking, of course, the historic botanical gardens and a clear view of the Kingston Harbour. Calvin, before we wrap this up, because we can see that we are pretty much at this stage,
lots of mingling happening behind us, and it's getting a bit louder.
Yes, Deputy Prime Minister Daniel is also leaving. So clearly we can maybe proceed now to thank all of the good folks who've been viewing and let them know how we were able to bring this broadcast to them live. Except, of course, we'd like to share some more about KMP before we leave.
Yes, well, just want to I think we've said all of what is to be said about Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, the Honourable Keisal M. Peters, and going forward, I'm sure you'll see more of her in the news. You'll see across the various platforms as she takes on the new role as a full minister responsible for those portfolios. We'll see her more in the news. But just to recap, her journey started at the Lomans Leeward Anglican School, moved all the way up through the Keiville campus of the UWI, completed a professional certification at Hewitten Law School, and she was awarded the Principal's Award for Advocacy. So that's an outstanding patch. She was also involved in a number of organizations, the Girl Guides, the Red Cross Society, and certainly built on that to where she is today. And in 2020, she joined the House of Assembly as a senator.
That's right.
And
the
today,
Prime Minister indicated she moved right out of the law offices of Stanley Starkey John, right into politics.
As a Minister of State.
An idea of what the transition was like.
Yes. And I think most of this was highlighted between the Prime Minister's presentation and Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Honourable Keisal Peters earlier. So no need to traverse what was said earlier. Of course, we wish to thank all of those who joined us along the way. Of course, we were live across the various platforms, the National Broadcasting Corporation, NBC Radio, VC3, Channel 114, and also online, the Agency for Public Information on a Facebook page and also on the channel, Channel 116, and Channel 116 also. We want to urge persons to visit that channel, 116. The API is a 24-hour channel where you can catch this and other broadcasts that we've done over the past couple of months and more, and other content from the API
on demand,
on demand as well. So we urge you to take a stop there, channel 116 as well. To those who join us across the various platforms, those who shared our live feed, we may not have known about everyone who shared it, so we thank you on behalf of the entire production team. A very big team here today, comprising of representatives of the API, NBC Radio, and VC3 coming together. So many names to mention, so I wouldn't risk it in leaving out anyone.
And some representation from the private media as well.
Yes.
From the free press.
Yes. We have private media represented, both print and electronic, and also other radio stations represented here this morning. So we wish to thank you, everyone, the entire production team here at Government House, for making sure that this broadcast went loud and clear across the globe to everyone, to the leaders of all three entities, the director of the API, thank you very much, Sean Rose, for assisting in this process today, to Ms. Dion John, our general manager at NBC, and to Anthony Denny, operations manager at VC3 Television. Thanks to you as well for spearheading and your background work in making today a reality. To the staff and our friends here at the Government House, thanks for accommodating us, and we had to just do a little slight modification when we came here to make sure that we could bring this to you in the best possible. We thank you as well for your collaboration. To our master control operator, Donnie Collins, thanks very much to you for facilitating the radio and the master control operators at VC3 and API for your input.
Calvin, special thanks to you. It's a pleasure working alongside you to bring a live broadcast of this nature, and we look forward to the next live broadcast.
Yes.
May or may not invite me to join you again.
Well, we'll see where that one goes, of course. Thanks again for joining me on the broadcast this morning. And to all of you who watched, listened, followed in any way, thanks to you, and do have a safe and a productive one and an enjoyable weekend ahead.